Anyway, thanks for coming. As Forbes mentioned, I try to be, I think maybe we'll try to keep it as short as we can, but keep it very interesting, right? And stuff. And actually, maybe just to start off, and even in terms of this project, and people ask me, well, why would we? What's so exciting about the Cordero or this project down in Mexico, right? And in some ways, it's a perfect project, right? It produces the metals that the world needs going forward to decarbonize, help decarbonization. And in terms of silver, it's got one of the largest silver reserves in the world, over 300 million ounces of silver. It's all contained in a much larger resource of 1.3 billion ounces of silver equivalent. So you're producing the right products for the world, right? Second thing is, it's going to create a lot of prosperity. It's being built. It's going to invest $600 million of new dollars into the region. You're going to employ over 2,500 people during the first 4 or 5 years of construction, and 1,000 people for the life of the project, and all the interactions that go with employing these people, train and develop people. You're gonna create from entry-level jobs from people in the region right up through. You're gonna need engineers, technologists, accountants. You're gonna need biologists, lawyers, right? People one time somebody asked me, is working in mining sexy? And there's all kinds of really exciting jobs that are going to come from this and training people in this region. So it's going to bring a lot of those kind of benefits and for people on the social side. It's going to some of the ways we've organized or engineered the project. Virtually it's somewhat environmentally. It's less environmentally negative than a lot of projects. There's no acid generating potential here. It's in an isolated area, so there's not a lot of communities. You're not going to displace communities of people, right? We've designed it with closure in mind, so we can do a lot of progressive rehabilitation as we go. It's very efficient from a water use. It's actually, matter of fact, part of the plan we're going to actually improve the use of water in the region. We're going to be able to improve a lot of other things for the people, not only the people that work for you and their families, but the people in the region. So it's going to do a lot of good things there. For government, it's going to, we're going to spend $4 billion in goods and services. You're going to create a lot of value for a lot of secondary and tertiary industries in the region, employ more people. It's going to pay over $2 billion in taxes. And then from an investor point of view, its initial investment of $600 million that creates a project with a $1.2 billion NPV that'll grow because it self-finances itself, grow to over $2 billion by the sixth year. It's going to create one of the largest silver mines in the world. It's going to the level of production here. It's going to be different. It's going to transform the silver industry. There's a lot of projects in the silver industry, but they don't. They might produce 3 or 4 or 5 million ounces of silver, and that sounds like a lot until you actually think about it and what the value is, and you say, geez, these aren't very big operations. They don't create a lot of value. Whereas this project, by producing at the level it does, it's sort of like with Detour. It's not just the amount of margin, it's the volume of the margin that you create. And at producing 37 million ounces of silver a year equivalent at when we talk about $10, $11 to $10 an ounce margin, that's a lot of new money being created, new value. And so from an investor point of view, you invest $6 or $600 billion and you get $2.2 billion. So it's like putting your money in the bank in 6 years. Where can you put your money in the bank? Put $1 in the bank and get $300.50 back. You're going to get 5 or 6 or 10% interest. Like Eric said, Eric Sprott told me one time, why would I put my money in the bank or invest in a project, get 5% return? I can leave money in the bank risk free. This is one of these projects that's going to give you significant value for what you invest in it. And because of the cost of building the project, it's also going to be one of these leading projects. So it gives it's the right project. It produces the right product for the world. It provides significant value for the people in the region, right? It's great for the government. It's great for the investor. It just happens to be an open pit gold mine in Mexico. So we have to go through that part of it. But
save the best for last.
Yeah. So anyway, this was just this slide. I'm going to give you some things I've talked about, but producing 37 million ounces a year for the first 12 years, or 33 million ounces for the life of mine. But so it's going to be one of the largest gold silver mines in the world. We talk about the cost and the margin at 12, mentioned $12.50 an ounce, which is in the bottom half of the silver space. So it's going to be a different mine. And if I go back maybe 25, 30 years ago when they started building the big open pits. Actually, if you go back even further than that, it would have been with the large copper porphyries back in the 80s and 90s, when they first started building Brenda Mine or the copper porphyries in the 60s and 70s. It was like a transition in the industry. How can we build these large copper porphyries? Then we started building these large low-grade gold mines. Well, then now in the silver space, you have a lot of high-grade, small tonnage underground silver mines. Here's one of these large tonnage silver mines that can again change the face of the industry, right? And it's got a long mine life of 19 years, so it's going to be there for a while, and people can actually, you can really do some good things with this project. But it also has a lot of optionality. There's still 40% of the resource not mined as part of the feasibility study, and if the price of silver goes up $2 an ounce, that all becomes reserved. That can all become reserved with a mine plan. So there's a lot of optionality in the future. Is that if we did this at $22 silver, and if you believe like some of our big shareholders do, that silver should be $30 or $50 or $100 an ounce, then it's going to be a much more valuable project than what we have currently. And maybe I talked about a lot of this stuff up front, and so I won't want to spend. I talk about the exceptional economics, the high price leverage to in terms of if metal prices go up a bit, just for every 10% increase in metal prices, the value of this project goes up by almost 40%. So, lot of benefit there. And talk about the economic contribution to the region. I already talked about significant job creation, the economic benefits that you bring. And again, as a project, put in $6. After 6 years, you get $22 back for your $6. You can't do that in the bank, right? And I think the biggest part for us moving forward, and something I should talk to about. Maybe we got some people, and Forbes introduced some the people that are here. We got especially the track record of working in Mexico and what's being done. The quality of the team we have in Mexico and the work that they've done is second to none. And we've actually even achieved some awards in Mexico from a workplace and social responsibility that no exploration company gets, right? So I think there's been a lot of positives there, and that's something that we need to use in terms of we always have to become socially accepted in terms of these regions, because we're going to be there for a long time, and I think people have done a lot in doing that. This I talk about water and location, etc., and maybe I'll just try to give you a sense of where the project is. It's in a, to me, somewhat an ideal location. When you look at, it's not one of these mining projects that are in an isolated area that you got to go to and where there's no roads, etc., and you got to build a camp. It is in an isolated area in the sense that there's no people right here, but you're between Chihuahua and Parral. So Chihuahua is a city of 1.1 million. And Parral, it's just about, a couple, 40 minutes north of the town of Parral, which is a city of 120,000 people with mining schools and mining history in the region. So it's like almost being here in Toronto, driving towards Kingston and just going, up toward just a little bit north of Kingston, maybe to Caladar or something, and that's where the project is. It's in a perfect spot. You're going to have access to people, you got access to suppliers, and you got access to, you got access to infrastructure, you got you got access to electricity, you got access to water, to communities, to schools, education systems. Everything is here in the region, right? And then, this is where it is. That's why you say it's in an isolated area. So some of the things that affects you when you're trying to build projects is understand the scope. And this one, it's got a very definable scope in terms of knowing what's here. We got no clays, we got no lakes and rivers around. We got no historic or past liabilities. And you can see, I can show you around. No communities for quite some years. And then our people in Mexico have done a great job in terms of securing surface rights and, the local whether the local ejido that's nearby or some of the local ranchers in terms of working with them to really continue to build that social license and demonstrate how the operation could be beneficial to them. And this is just a sort of a view to try to give you a sense on the infrastructure around, what would be built around the pit. And again, you can see that the impact with people and with the area is minimalized, right? In terms of what we're trying to build on this project. And then, that was showing power lines, just the town of Corral. But just to get through a couple of quick things, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but this one shows, again, the summarizing that Cordero is the largest silver reserve of any place. So when we say this is the largest undeveloped silver deposit in the world, these mean Corani is permitted, but it's in a remote region in Peru. There's some of these other ones are in areas where we won't be able to go to. Here's something in a perfect location, not far away. In terms of compared to the industry, and as I mentioned, it's going to change the industry. This is one project that with the size of reserve equal to larger reserves, and not a lot of these other longer term silver companies, a lot more valuation. So from an investor perspective, buying the stock, investing in this today, if this gets built, you got a really good chance to get significant return on this project. And like Pan American has a larger reserve here than what Cordero has, but that's with 5 mines, right? And then, I think there's a little talk. We talk about the plan upside. So this is the unique part about it. The resource and the reserve pit that's part of Cordero is not, and the resource pit. It's not like there's some satellite pits. It's all contained within the existing resource pit. And the difference between the reserve pit and the resource pit is $2 an ounce silver. And if you want to see how that, so this is the reserves at Cordero, right? And then if I just go to this view, it just gives you the different view on the section. Then if you just bring in the M&I resource, you can see how it's just encapsulated. And then with further drilling, and we can just bring in the inferred resource, you can see how the project can grow incrementally without a lot of significant change. So it has that future optionality on it. And I know Gernot's here, and we haven't done. When you find a 1.3 billion ounce deposit, you should be pretty happy with that. But it's a 1.3 billion ounce deposit. How much bigger can we make it, or where can we find the next one in the region? So you got a lot of future optionality and things. You're in, you found an elephant, and you're in the right region. Maybe there's opportunities to extend this even further. So this is a mine that'll not only be here 20 years, probably be here 30, and potentially could be part of a much larger scale business over the next 50 or 60 years, right? Which is, the good parts of why we work in this industry. I think we're a great industry. We create value from the bottom up, create value for everybody. And this is a one project that solves all the stakeholders' needs in terms of what needs to be done. I can get into technical stuff about flow sheet and et cetera. I talked about the capital efficiency of the project, right? And you'll see a lot of pre-feasibility studies, feasibility studies. Somebody's going to spend $1 billion capex, get a $1.1 billion NPV, or somebody put out a $2.8 billion capex on a PEA, gives you a $1 billion NPV. This is $600 million to get $2.2 billion. And it half finances itself. So, and just where the project sits, and BMO does this. We've had talked to some people. They say, we're not, somebody, if you go historical production, it might be a little bit different, but regardless, it just stands out. This project stands out from a cost perspective, production perspective, and size of resource compared to the rest of the industry, like I said. So is Cordero a good project? I think it's a great package. And talk about it being a Tier-1 asset, the silver space, right? It's not a Tier-1 asset in the gold space, but it would be on the cusp. But in the silver space, it's a Tier-1 asset. So.